Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and I want to bring you guys a quick video. I know there's been a lot of talk about the fact that Mr. Kelly access to email has been restricted at the facility that he has been sent to in North Carolina. And so there are various reasons why inmates do not have access to email. And Jennifer Bongine had put out a post, I think it was back on May 10th, where she was basically stating that she had spoken with him, he was in good spirits, and she still didn't have a reason as to why his email was being denied. And so I was doing a little research on the whole Corelink system. And so if you guys don't know, or you've never, known someone who was incarcerated in federal prisons, they use this system. It's called Corelinks.com. And it's used as an email system, but it's not the same as, if you have Gmail, Yahoo, MSN. I don't even know if that's still around, but it's not like a regular email account that we would use where you're emailing someone back and forth. Actually, what it is like a computer system, and it allows inmates to message people, and it appears like an email. So for example, when I would email someone that was in a federal prison, I would first have to request, put in a request to be able to email that person, and then they would have to agree to receiving my emails. And so you can't, so like you log into your regular email like Gmail and Yahoo, you have to log in order to see your emails, right? Well, the Corelink system works similar to that. You have to log in order to send the emails and to see the emails that the inmate has sent to you. Emails only stay, I think, for 30 days, whereas with your regular email, you can keep those emails forever until you delete them. You can't include web addresses or, links, URL links. You can't do fancy things like, underline, bold, that type of thing, change the typeset. Like everything is set in this system. They control everything. You can't include attachments. You can't, put pictures or send another letter. You're not supposed to forward those. Well, you can't forward those emails. You would have to copy and paste the contents of the email, then put it in another, like a regular email, and send it to somebody else. Inmates are not allowed to tell you to forward an email. They can lose their privileges, for saying, hey, can you forward this to my mom or to so-and-so. So they are very strict on what they can do. They only get so many words. I think the maximum words that you can put in an email is like 2,000 words. And then I believe they have a word limit for the month. They do have to, I know they have a limit on the number of emails that they can send. You guys already know that the prison has access to the messages that they're sending out. They can read those emails. And as we know from the whole Tasha K thing, that they can, other people can access those emails, download them, and send them to other people, even though they're not supposed to be doing that. So, and then emails, I believe the inmates have to pay for this email service. So you don't have to pay to send an email to the inmate, but the inmate does have to pay for emails. Oh, and then I think with the word count, so they have, I believe it is a monthly word count that they can use. And as I've already stated, an email can't be more than 2,000 words. Inmates will always send you new emails, like you're trying to have a conversation with them back and forth, but rarely do they reply to that email unless it's something really, really short. Most times they will send you a new email, because when they reply to the email, I believe it counts the previous words towards their monthly usage. So it's just like real crazy, a lot of different things that they have going on, but they buy like so many blocks. And I can't remember what it comes out to. It doesn't seem really expensive on our end, however, for each message that they send. But I guess when you're on the inside and you have limited funds and resources, every penny counts. So some of the reasons that when my kid's father was in federal prison, like some of the reasons they would be on lockdown, and the email system won't tell you that the prison is on lockdown. Like you'll send an email and they just won't respond to you. And you're like, well, dang, why you didn't respond to my email, And so some of the reasons would be like, I remember one time the prison he was in South Carolina had got hit by a tornado. So they didn't have email access, didn't have phone access, because they had to relocate the prisoners to other prisons. And so until they got to the new prison, and then I think there's like a time period when they get to a new prison where they can't access email. And so that would be one reason. One reason that everybody lost email was like if there were fights and stuff taking place inside the prison, then everybody would lose access. It was just like things like that, like disciplinary actions. I remember when COVID was going on, they couldn't access email sometimes. Like some prisons took away the email access because they didn't really want the inmates telling what was really going on, and how inmates were getting really sick and dying, and they didn't know what was going on. And so for personal reasons, email is taken away for disciplinary action and things like that. Or if they sent an email that had content in it that was against the rules, then they will take away their access to the emails for a certain period of time. So in doing my research on Mr. Kelly's particular case, I did come across this. And I'm not saying that this is the reason why he does not have access, but I'm saying that it could be a reason. And I thought it was really interesting. It says inmate email restrictions based on personal history. Oh, and let me go to the one before that. It says Corelink's email restrictions. Not all inmates in the federal prison system are granted access to TrueLinks, which is actually the whole system itself. It's like a messaging system, but Corelinks is one of the features within TrueLinks, which allows the emails to go out and for them to receive emails. And so it says a since rescinded policy explained that an inmate could be restricted from the public messaging system in the following circumstances. One was if an inmate has a history that threatens institutional security or the public. If a prisoner is under investigation for disciplinary violations related to TrueLinks or Corelink's abuse or misuse. And 3, if disciplinary sanctions restrict the inmate from emailing for a specific period. While inmates have no constitutional right to email, prison authorities must provide notice of the reason for denial or restriction and the right to appeal the decision. Since the current enforced policy is far less detailed, the provisions of the now rescinded policy are discussed below. These help show trends in who is denied email access and the rationale behind it. So, according to this, Mr. Kelly should know exactly why he has been denied access. So, the first reason given, I thought, best fits his case scenario. And I'm not saying that this is the reason why, but if it is the reason why he could eventually get access, someone has to review his case, and it might be in the review process, which is why Jennifer Bongine hasn't gotten word, or maybe she knows what's going on and is just not saying to the public because she doesn't want to upset his fan base. But it says federal prison staff can restrict an inmate from email access if the inmate has a record that threatens institutional security or the public. Their pre-sentence investigation report typically determines this. And you guys know the pre-sentence investigation report is the report that the government puts together to determine what their sentence should be. And it says that because this person was charged with this and found guilty, this is the maximum, the minimum and maximum range that they could face in this case. And we know we've read Mr. Kelly's pre-sentence report in both of his cases. So it says the former policy states inmates with a personal history of or prior offense conduct or conviction for soliciting minors for certain activity or possession distribution of CP through the internet or other means are excluded from program participation based on their history. Likewise, an inmate with a personal history of special skills or knowledge for using computers, email, internet, or other communication methods as a conduit for committing illegal activities will be excluded. So that's what the prior policy was. So then it goes on to say not every prisoner who fits this description is excluded, but experience suggests that this is often the case. Access privileges are determined on a case-by-case basis. Initially, the case manager reviews the inmate's pre-sentence investigation report to determine if they will grant access. If Corelink's access is approved, the inmate has email privileges. If TrueLink's public messaging access is denied, the determination must be reviewed by an associate warden. For example, some inmates incarcerated for possession of CP are granted access to public messaging as long as they didn't utilize email, instant messaging, or text messages to engage in these illicit activities. Now, this is important for several reasons. One being the prison where he is located at has a population that includes sexual offenders. Like, this is a prison where they send more people who have been convicted with those crimes than some other prisons might receive those prisons. So they do have programs in place at this prison specifically for people that have been convicted of these type of crimes. And so they may scrutinize these inmates more, and then they may give more individualized reviews of their record to determine which ones get email and which ones do not. And so the delay in him getting his email very well could be that the case manager is looking over the records and trying to make a determination. And if they've already made the determination and determined that he should not have access, then it would go to the warden, and then the warden would make the final decision as to whether or not they agree with the case manager, or if they're going to overturn the case manager and say he's not a threat, he can have the email access. And so that last paragraph is important because we all know that although he, was found guilty of making the CP with Roshona Landfair, it was for his private collection, but somebody stole the collection, and that's how it got out. So there was he didn't use any email, he didn't use instant messaging, and he didn't use text messages, to engage the activity in terms of making the CP, I guess. Or I guess that could be kind of questionable. He didn't do any of that to distribute the CP, which I think he was found not guilty on that. He was just found guilty on the part of making it, not any distribution or anything. But then, did they have text messaging? I can't remember, y'all. Was text messaging out? When did this all happen? In the late 90s? Yeah, I think people could text message. So, I mean, they didn't produce any text messages, I don't recall, during the trial that said that he said to Rashona, come on over here and let's create this CP. So, it would be real interesting. I don't think he should be denied his email. Not for that, because it wasn't like he was doing it for illegal purposes, like to sell it, to put it out there on the market. It was for his private collection. So it'll be interesting to see. Then it says prisoner email restrictions for disciplinary investigations. So this is another cause. It says federal prisoners can also be restricted from email access if they are under investigation for potential disciplinary violation related to TrueLink's abuse or misuse. In reality, this provision is rarely applied. This says prison staff only administratively suspend inmate email access under this provision when serious inmate misconduct is suspected. For example, prison staff may temporarily restrict email access if an inmate is under investigation for committing new crimes or serious misconduct using inmate email. And we know that doesn't apply because he just got there a few weeks ago and he has never been granted access to the email since being at that prison. So then Corelink's email restrictions for disciplinary sanctions. The most common reason for Corelink's email restriction is when an inmate is sanctioned for a disciplinary violation. Denial of access to TrueLink's public messaging is usually imposed in 30-day increments. For example, if an inmate receives an incident report for insolence to staff, their email privileges may be restricted for 30 days. On the other hand, prison administrators may suspend email privileges for several months or even a year if inmates are caught using drugs. These disciplinary restrictions deny inmate access as a form of sanction for misconduct of a rules infraction. Inmates can appeal disciplinary email restrictions, but prison staff may render an appeal decision after the inmate has concluded the sanction period. Regardless, inmates can still appeal disciplinary sanctions through the administrative remedy process if they are successful. Imposed sanctions are rescinded. So basically what they're saying there is that they can appeal, but it's going to be 30 days before they get back to you and you would have served your suspension already. So then it has offenders and Corelink's email. Administrative restrictions occur when inmates have particular email or sexual offense criminal charges. For example, permanent inmate email restrictions are regularly imposed when an inmate previously solicited a minor for sexual activity through email, text messages, or instant messages. These administrative restrictions can also apply when an inmate has specialized computer skills, enabling them to hack into the TrueLink's computer system. While this is possible, the TrueLink's computers are highly secure. Additionally, our firm has never seen an inmate restricted for this reason. If an inmate is barred from the Corelink's email system for these reasons, they can file for an administrative remedy attempting to reduce or reverse the decision on administrative grounds. And then it says that the current sex offender inmate email policy, the new TrueLink's public messaging policy explains, and this is what supposedly is currently in effect, an inmate's exclusion from participation must be based on their individual history of behavior that could jeopardize legitimate penological interests. The program statement further clarifies inmates must not be excluded from participation based on general categorizations of previous conduct. Whereas the same disciplinary and investigation restrictions still apply to program exclusion and suspension, the new policy provides clarification concerning sex offenders. The policy explains inmates whose offense, conduct, or other personal history indicates a propensity to offend through the use of email or jeopardizes the safety, security, orderly operation of the correctional facility or the protection of the public or staff should be seriously considered for restriction. These inmates must be evaluated to see if they pose a realistic threat. In our experience, overturning permanent email prohibitions, and when they say our experience, this is actually an attorney who deals with federal criminal defense. They represent inmates that are in federal prisons. So it says, in our experience, overturning permanent email prohibitions, we find that this often comes down to the case manager's nature. Some federal prison case managers readily approve virtually all inmates for email. Others erroneously believe that all sex offenders must be prohibited from inmate email. The secondary associate warden review is also critical. When case managers are unreasonably restrictive, reasonable associate wardens overturn these bans. But when case managers and associate wardens are vindictive, virtually every sex offender, regardless of posing a realistic threat, is permanently banned from Corelink's inmate email. So, I think that's what's going on, y'all. I could be wrong. But I think that his case is under review. I don't think he's received a permanent ban because Jennifer Bunjing would know that by now. But I do believe that his case may be under review at this point, and that's why he does not have email. And it would be interesting to know, since they have a high population of sex offenders at this particular prison, what is the numbers in terms of, or the percentages of inmates that have been permanently banned from using email amongst that inmate population. That would be interesting to find out, and might do some research to see if I can find that information. So then it says, then it goes on and gives a FAQ. What is Corelinks? Corelinks is a website that allows community members to email a prisoner in specific prison systems. The website connects with computer systems inside prisons that allow inmates to email friends and family members. And then, like I told you guys, it's not really an email system as we look at Gmail, Yahoo, Ymail, that type of thing. It's really like a program where they go into this program, they type their messages, and then it comes to their friends and family looking like an email, but it's technically not really an email. And then I was going to tell you guys what the cost was. Let me see. Okay, it says, does Corelinks cost money? This depends on the prison system. Federal prisoners pay 5 cents per minute while using the service, but outside contacts are not charged to email a prisoner. So they're charged 5 cents a minute when they're on this system, typing out their email. Let's see. Then it talks about, they have a Premier account that let you do a few other things, and that's $6 per year. And then they had another one that was $30-something a year. I thought it was $6 a month and then $36 a year. But I could be wrong. And it says, can an inmate block you on Corelinks? Inmates can block outside contacts, but they can delete a contact's email address. If this occurs, community members can no longer email the inmate, but the inmate can always re-add the email address to re-establish email communication. How do I add money to Corelink's account? You can add money to your account by logging in and clicking on recharge my account. This takes users to a page, and that's for inmate purposes. And there's just some other Q&As, questions out there. But yeah, I think that, the whole rule about the offenders and people there for sex crimes is probably the most likely reasonable answer as to why he does not have his email. And I don't think that he's been permanently banned from having email. I just think they are in the review process and that it could possibly take some time. So for those of you that are saying, oh, they're conspiring against him, they're doing this to punish him, and all of this stuff, I say everything isn't a conspiracy. It really isn't. But this is, could be something that he's going through, and hopefully they will rule that he can have email access, considering he's been locked up for the past 4 years and he hasn't, done anything wrong or violated any rules as far as who he is emailing and receiving emails from. And so that should be, beyond the pre-sentencing report, that should severely outweigh what's in the pre-sentencing report, the fact that he has not done anything appropriate since he has been locked up. And then even in the pre-sentencing report, I can't remember if there was really anything in there, that said that, he was habitual or anything like that, or that he was a threat child, to continue the behavior or whatever. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes of it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with my assessment, or do you think that something else is going on? Go ahead, leave your comments below. Oh, I think one of the other things was, I know, like, if a fight or something breaks out at the prison, that was another reason they would do lockdown. If there was like some type of infectious disease that was going through the prison, that would be another reason that they would cut off, because anytime the prison is on lockdown, they lose their email privileges. But we know that it's not a whole prison lockdown, because other people are obviously getting and receiving emails. And if you know somebody who is at the prison, then maybe you can email them and see if they can get a message to Mr. Kelly. So in any event, go ahead, leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.